interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
On this episode of Special Report, we're going to go over the new Iowa law concerning food handling and delivering, specifically related to the gig economy. Let's talk. Hey everybody, how you doing? Dash and Dave here again. Please click that subscribe button and hit that like button. Thank you very much. Alright, going to start a new series or segment of videos on the channel here called Special Report. We'll talk about the news and the gig economy as the gig economy changes and constantly evolves. We'll talk to some viewers through the viewer comments and all that. You know, you got questions or comments, send them on in. We'll go back and forth, kind of help each other as this whole thing evolves. So I get up this morning and I've got a message in my Ubereats message box. Iowa food safety requirements. Hi, David. The state of Iowa recently implemented a new food safety law. This new law becomes effective on January 1, 2023 and includes the following requirements for food orders delivered using the Ubereats platform. Now, this encompasses all delivery platforms, Grubhub, Doordash, but this comes from Ubereats here. Now, I question whether or not this law actually becomes effective on January 1 of 2023. My understanding was it became effective July 1 of this year, 2022. Usually, the way the Iowa legislature works, once the legislature session is over and the governor does mass signings, usually in mid-June, most laws become effective on July 1 of the following month, with the exception of if a law has a start time written in it. That could be the case here. I'm not sure. I'll try to find out on that. So here's the 4 points in the Uber message. The order should be maintained at a safe holding temperature necessary to prevent spoilage. Okay, that's your hot bag, people. Just use one. I like it. It kind of identifies you as a delivery driver, gets you into places where a guy just carrying bags and pop might not, okay? All bags or containers in which orders are being transported or delivered from a restaurant to a customer should be closed or sealed by the restaurant with a tamper-resistant method. All containers sealed, tamper-resistant method. I'm not supposed to be filling up the Cokes at the Freestyle, okay? That's a container and it's carrying part of the order.
Everybody got that?
And like I've said over and again, as a customer, I don't want you, the delivery driver, having anything to do with preparing my order or filling my order, and that includes the pop, okay? Because like I've said before, you grab a bunch of lids out of the stack of lids, you take your fingers, you go inside, grab the inside lip of the cup, pull that lid out, and then slap it on my, okay, our hands are on steering wheels. We're opening and closing doors and all that. I wash my hands quite frequently, as I'm sure everybody else does. I don't keep sanitizer in here, but that doesn't mean anything anyway. The restaurant is supposed to do their job. That's always been my take on it. Okay, point number 3. The individual delivering orders should not have any passengers, including animals or children, when orders for delivery are being transported in the vehicle, except for one adult passenger not engaging in payment for ride share services. Pretty straightforward. You can have one adult with you, no animals, no kids, and the adult with you is not paying you to drive them from point A to point B on Uber, and then you pick up Taco Bell at the, you know, so you can't be doing 2 at 1. That's Iowa law. I guess under Uber that was okay as long as the passenger was okay with it. I don't know. I don't do rideshare. And the last point, smoking or vaping in the vehicle while orders are in the vehicle is prohibited. So smoke away all you want, but as long as your hot bag's full, you know, zip it. Then it continues. Requirements 3 and 4 create new responsibilities and restrictions on courier behavior that prohibit having animals or passengers in the vehicle, blah, 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 blah. We also encourage you to get familiar with requirements 1 and 2 regarding maintaining temperature control and transporting food in sealed containers. That's an interesting one. We encourage you to get familiar with these requirements, including number 2, which is, are we supposed to bark at the restaurants now if they don't do this? Like I said, I believe this law has actually been in effect since July 1st of this year, and with the exception of Arby's that has done it already out of COVID, very few restaurants comply. Most places do a pretty good job of sealing the bags, but almost none seal the cup. And it all depends on how particular you want to get. You know, this is the law. Letter of the law says the containers must be sealed, okay? And then it ends, as a reminder, Uber's community guidelines require all couriers to comply with all relevant laws and regulations. You can learn more about completing deliveries on the Uber app here, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so, you know, it'll be interesting to see how this all rolls out. Now, when I was reading the code that came out in conjunction with this law several months ago, from what I understood, if somebody raised a complaint, then action or reaction would take place from the governmental agencies that oversee this, which I believe would be the food and beverage division of the Iowa legislature, the Iowa boards, if you will. So somebody sees me smoking, they could complain. Somebody complains about not having a seal on their drink, that goes against the restaurant that didn't seal it. So how much is this actually going to come into play? Was this just one of those feel-good laws that legislatures just love to pass so they can pat themselves on the back and said, see what I did for you, little man that voted for me? You know, so we'll just have to see where this all goes. And like I said, there's going to be some people out there, we know this, that are pretty picky on how things work. And this law really wasn't broadcast that greatly in Iowa when it was passed, with the exception, what got all the press of this law was a different section in it that had to do with pirating menus, where an app would take your menu off of your website, duplicate it on, say, the Delivery Gig app, and then somebody would get on there and order from your restaurant on the app. Then the app would kick the order to the restaurant, and then you go deliver and pick it up. And basically what that section of law says is you can't do that anymore. You have to have a signed agreement with the restaurant in order for their menu to be on your app. And I totally agree with that, okay? Because some places don't want to do this. So if you follow me on that. So anyway, that was the other section, and that was the section that got the most airplay when this law was put out there. So that's it for this special report. You keep the comments and the questions coming, and we'll go on from here. All right, guys and gals, that's all I've got for you today. Hopefully you can take something from this video and put it to use for yourself. Thanks for coming along for the ride, and hope to see you next time.